गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवकाचार्य स्त्रोत्र हिज डिवाइन अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवकाचार्य स्त्रोत्र हिज डिवाइन श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य शील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवशादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिका श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम शेषी जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। कलयुग पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। ऑल ग्लोरीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड गौरंगा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू शील प्रभुपाद की जय।
हमारे साथ साथ गुरु वंदना दोहराइए। हमारे गुरुदेव अध्यात्मिक गुरु के चरण कमल ही एकमात्र साधन है जिनके द्वारा हम शुद्ध भक्ति में सेवा प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। मैं उनके चरण कमल में अत्यंत भक्ति एवं श्रद्धा पूर्वक नतमस्तक होता हूँ। उनकी कृपा से जीव भौतिक कलेशों के महासागर को पार कर सकता है तथा कृष्ण की कृपा प्राप्त कर सकता है। मेरी एकमात्र इच्छा है कि उनके मुख कमल से निकले हुए शब्दों द्वारा अपनी चेतना को शुद्ध करूं। उनके चरण कमलों में अनुराग ऐसी सिद्धि है जो समस्त मनोरथों को पूर्ण करती है। वे मेरी बंद आंखों को खोलते हैं तथा मेरे हृदय में दिव्य ज्ञान बढ़ते हैं। जन्म जन्मांतर से वे मेरे प्रभु है। वे प्रेमा भक्ति प्रदान करते हैं और विद्या का नाश करते हैं। वैदिक शास्त्र उनके चरित्र का गान करते हैं। हे गुरुदेव करुणा सिंधु तथा पतित आत्माओं के मित्र, आप सबके गुरु एवं सभी लोगों के जीवन हैं। हे गुरुदेव मुझ पर दया कीजिए तथा मुझे अपने चरणों की छाया प्रदान कीजिए। आपका यश तीनों लोकों में फैला हुआ है। कृष्ण कृपा मूर्ति अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यमुना तीर बनचारी। यमुना तीर बनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यमुना तीर बनचारी। Yamuna Tira Banasari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jai Amuspa Paramahansa Paribhajagacharya Sattare Srismada Pridhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavati Jai Anantapuri Vaishnavini ki Jai Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem Sutaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivadhari Gaur Bhakti Jai Sri Radha Krishna Mo Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giri Govindan ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू दैट और ग्लोरी टू दैट थैंक यू वेरी मच
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
मदाश्रया तथा मृष्टा शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापा नैतान् मद्गतचेतसः मदाश्रया कृतामृष्टा मदाश्रया कृतामृष्टा शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापा तपन्ति विविधास्तापा नैतान् मद्गतचेतसः नैतान् मद्गतचेतसः मदाश्रया कृता कृमृष्टा शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापा नैतान् मद्गतचेतसः Engage constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities.
मदाश्रया कथा मृष्ट्या सिन्नन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापा नैतान् मद्गतचेतसः नैतान्. Generally, people they are suffering. There is nobody in the world, those who are material engaged, can say boldly that I am not suffering. Is there anybody? I challenge anyone. Can anyone say that I am not suffering? So, everyone must be suffering. Why these anacin tablets are advertised? Painkiller. Because they are suffering. And not in this country, but the Western countries, America, one takes at least 1 dozen tablets daily for mitigating suffering. Tranquilizer, this, that, so many. They're advertised and they take. At last for sleeping. Because they are more advanced. We are less advanced, therefore we are satisfied only one tablet and acid. But they are not satisfied with one tablet. There are dozens of tablets. I have seen it. It is advertised in a subway, a train. So many tablets are advertised. The suffering must be there. Anyone who has got this material body has accepted suffering. That's a fact. But foolish people, they cannot understand. He thinks I have got very fatty and beautiful body. He is satisfied. The dog is also satisfied. He does not know that this dog's body is greater suffering than human body. The hog's body is greater suffering than the human body. But everyone is thinking, I am happy. This is called Maya, illusion. You go to a hospital, a man is lying down on the bed, and if you are, how are you? Yes, I am well too. What is well? So there cannot be anyone without suffering. That is not possible. There are 3 kinds of suffering. Adhyatmic, adhibhautik, adhidaivik. Adhyatmic means pertaining to the body and mind. I have got headache today. I have got some pain here in the back. My mind is not very much settled up today. I cannot talk with you. These kind of sufferings are called adhyatmic, pertaining to the body and the mind. And there are sufferings adhibhautik. Just like at night, unnecessarily, the dogs bark and we cannot sleep. This is called adhibhautik. Suffering imposed by other living entities. The mosquitoes, the bugs, then enemies, suffering. Just like some of our enemies, they are hindering, sanctioning this temple. So this is called adhibhautik. And besides that, big sufferings there are. Then adhidaivik, accident, which you have no control. No sufferings you have control. That is not possible. There is famine, there is pestilence, there is no rain, there is excessive heat, excessive cold. They are called adhidaivik. Earthquake, so many. So, this is the reminder that you rascal, you are thinking you are very happy in this material world. What you have done about this suffering? Mura. They think this is all right, it doesn't matter. Besides that, there is very great sufferings, that is birth, death, old age and disease. So where is your happiness? But because we are under the spell of Maya, we are thinking this position is very nice. Let us enjoy life. This is their enjoyment. So one has to tapanti vividha stapa. Vividha, multi. Vividha means many. Tapanti vividha stapa na etan madhugata chetasaha. Those who are Krishna conscious, we cannot say that they are not suffering. They are suffering, but not so acutely. They know. Therefore, we have begun this sadhu's symptom, titiksava, tolerant. Everyone is tolerant. One has to tolerate. But a sadhu's toleration and ordinary man's toleration is different. Sadhu's toleration is not so acute because a sadhu knows that he is not this body. There is a Bengali Vaishnava song, Deha smriti nahi ja, sangsar bandhan kaha ta. If we understand properly that I am not this body, then although there is suffering, you will not feel very much. Although we are now absorbed with this body, bodily sufferings are there. Just like the example that you have got a car and there is some accident. So one who is too much absorbed with the thought that this is my car or I am car, he suffers more. But if one knows that I am not this car, all right, there is some accident, it can be repaired or it can be changed. That doesn't matter. It is a question of absorption of the thought. The materialistic person, because they are like animal, he suffers more. And for the devotees, as it is advised in the Bhagavad Gita, matra sparsastu kontiya sitoshna sukha dukkhada. Agama apainya anitya tang titikhasya bharat. Krishna says to Arjuna that these material sufferings are just like the sufferings of seasonal suffering. In summer season also you suffer, and in winter season also you suffer. Chitoshna sukha dukkhada. And this same thing, this fire in summer season, it is suffering. The heat is suffering. And in the winter season, the same fire is pleasing. Similarly, water in the winter season is suffering, but in the summer season it is pleasing. The same water, the same fire, sometimes it is suffering, sometimes it is pleasing, but the matter is the same. Why? Matra sparsa. It is due to the touch of the skin. Because we have got the skin disease and this body, therefore you are suffering. Because you have become so nonsense rascal that I am this body. Jasyatu buddhi kunapi tidhatuke. Tidhatuke. This is the bag of three elements, kapha, pitta, vayu. Kapha, pitta, vayu. According to Ayurvedic system, they are called tridhatu. So this body is made of material elements, kapha, pitta, vayu. So jasyatu buddhi kunapi tidhatuke. Sadhik kalatra adishubhoma ijjadhi jat tirtha buddhi salile nakarhichi janesu avijna sayava gokhar. So the more we are in bodily concept of life, the suffering is more. Nowadays, new things have developed, nationalism, communism, communalism, so many things. Sufferings are more. we have seen in 1947 in Calcutta, Hindu-Muslim riot. The more suffering, because one is thinking, I am Hindu, one is thinking, I am Muslim. But if one is advanced in Krishna consciousness, then they will not suffer. They will not unnecessarily fight because I am Hindu, because you are Muslim, that we have to fight. No. Because if both of them know that I am not this body, therefore I am neither Hindu nor Muslim, I am eternal servant of Krishna, then where is the suffering of Hindu-Muslim life? The understanding is missing. Because people are being educated to become more bodily conscious, therefore their sufferings are increasing. Sufferings are increasing. And if you reduce this bodily concept of life, then suffering also will be reduced. So those who are Krishna conscious means, here it is said, Madhagata Chetasa. Naitana Madhagata Chetasa. Madhagata, Bhagavan said, those who are always thinking of in the mind, within the heart, Madhagata Chetasa, they are not suffering. They are not suffering in this way because they know that even if I am suffering, it is Krishna's desire. So they welcome. Just like Kunti. Queen Kunti, when Krishna was departing, taking farewell from Kunti, so Kunti said, my dear Krishna, when we are in full of danger, at that time you are always present as our friend, as our advisor. Now we are well situated, we have got our kingdom, we are well established, so you are going away to Dwarka? No, this is not good. Better we may again go to that suffering so that we can remember you always. So the devotee sometimes welcome suffering because that is an opportunity of remembering Krishna very constantly. Tattenu kampa susamiksamana bhunyana eva kritam vipaka. So when a devotee suffers, he thinks that it is due to my past misdeeds. So I am suffering not very much, very little on account of Krishna's grace. So it doesn't matter. So after all, it is everything in the mind, suffering and enjoying. So if the devotee's mind is trained up in Krishna consciousness, therefore he does not care for suffering. That is the difference between a devotee and non-devotee. Therefore it is said that tapanti vividhastapa naitan madhgata chetasa. That's like Prahlad Maharaj. So how much suffering he had to undergo. The 5-year-old boy, and his father was putting in danger, sometimes under the feet, leg of the elephant, sometimes throwing from the mountain, sometimes on burning oil, sometimes among the snakes, and so many ways. But he was silent. Haridas Thakur was a Mohammedan by birth. So he became a very good devotee and always chanting Hare Krishna. That was his fault. So the Muslim Qazi called him that you are Mohammedan, you born in such great family, Mohammedan family, and you are chanting Hindus Hare Krishna mantra. What is this? So he mildly replied, my dear sir, There are many Hindus, they also have become Mohammedan. So suppose I have become Hindu, so what is the wrong? What is wrong? So Kaji became very angry that you are talking before me. All right. So he was punished to be caned in 22 bazaar, in front of 22 bazaar. That means he was to be killed by caning. So it is understood when he was bitten by the cane, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on his back, so he did not feel any suffering. So there are many instances. A devotee had to suffer many suffering, but they did not take it very much severely. They tolerated, and a devotee is educated to tolerate. Therefore, in the sadhu's symptoms beginning, the titikshava karunika, a devotee suffers, at the same time he is very kind to these conditioned souls, how to elevate them, how to make them Krishna conscious. This is karunika. These are the very primary features of a devotee's life. People put him into suffering in so many ways, but he does not give up his job. His job is to spread Krishna consciousness so that others may become happy. Just like Prahlad Maharaj said, "Oh, my Lord, I have no suffering. I have no suffering. Because I know the art, how to become happy. Tadvijja gayana amritamagna chitya." The same thing is described here. Sinnanti kathayanti. Prahlad Maharaj said that I know how to become happy. How to become happy? That's simply hearing about you and chanting about you. Sinnanti kathayanti. Just like here, two businesses going on. You are hearing and I am speaking. Bodhayantang parasparam mahatmana sumang prartha daivi pragiti mas. Bhajanti. This bhajan means sinnanti, kathayanti, savanam, kirtanam, Vishnu. This is bhajan. You simply hear about the Lord, you talk about the Lord, that is bhajan. Savanam, then you can further make progress. Savanam, kirtanam, Vishnu. Savanam, kirtanam is going on all over the world. Some is hearing about some politician, other is speaking about some politician or some other man, some important man in the society. Savanam Kirtanam is going on, but they are suffering. But when the Savanam Kirtanam is pertaining to Vishnu, Savanam Kirtanam Vishnu, then he will not be suffering. This is there. It requires experience. It requires advancement. Then, Prahlad Maharaj, as he said, Tadvijja gayana maha amritamagna chitta. Because my mind is always absorbed in talking about him and hearing about him. Therefore, I am not unhappy. I know how to become happy. But you seem to be very unhappy. So he says, yes, I am unhappy because I see this tato vimukha cetasa maya sukhaya bharamud bhato vimuna. These foolish people, simply for temporary so-called happiness, they are engaged in material activity. I am thinking of them only. That is my unhappiness. Otherwise, I have no unhappiness. So this devotional service, this line of action is so nice that if we practice if we make advance, then even in this material world, staying, there will be no more suffering. That is called Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means, although he is in this body, but he is not suffering the bodily miserable condition. It is a question of absorption of thought. I have read in some paper that Mr. Stalin, the communist leader, he had to undergo a surgical operation of operating on the belly. The doctor wanted to, what is called chloroform, but he said, no, there is no need. You can go on with your operation. So even in ordinary life it is possible. Because the mind is absorbed in a different way, even a surgical operation does not disturb a man. Similarly, what to speak of spiritual life, if your mind is always absorbed in Krishna thought, Krishna consciousness, that is stated, Madagata Chetasa, always thinking of Krishna. And Krishna advises also. What is his advice? Manvana bhava mad bhakt. Madhyaji mang namaskuru. If you always think of me, there are many instances, if we believe there is another, if you don't believe there is another, but there is practical also, that these boys, European American boys, from their childhood, then from their birth, they are accustomed to so many bad habits. But for want of those bad habits, they think it is impossible to live. Not only ordinary man, I will tell you the story of one very big man, the Marquis of Jetland. The Marquis of Jetland was talking with one of my god brother, the Lord, they are called Lord. He asked, can you make me Brahmin? So my god brother said, yes, it is not very difficult. If you give up these bad habits, intoxication, illicit sex life, meat eating and gambling, you can become a Brahmin. So he said, it is impossible. Yeah, a very big man. He said, it is impossible, this is our life. Actually, we have got experience in the Western countries. This is their life. Even very, very old men, they cannot give up this. For want of this, it is a great suffering. But here you see practically these young boys, young girls, they have given up. There is no suffering. Take practical example. An old man, a very respectable gentleman, he was requested to give up these 4 habits. He replied, it is impossible. How it is becoming possible for these boys? If they would have suffered for want of this illicit sex, intoxication, the boys and girls, then how they could remain with me? I am not a very rich man. I cannot give them nice shelter. I cannot give them nice food. But why? Because they are not feeling. They have no furniture. They are lying down on the floor. No bedding, no proper cloth. Because they are not suffering actually. Otherwise they could not remain with me. This is a fact. If they would have suffered, then like Lord Jetland, they would have also said, it is impossible to remain with Prabhupada. But they are not saying that. There is suffering from disease also. Still they are not living. They are not living. So Krishna consciousness is so nice. Madhgata. They do not feel any suffering. It is practical. Others, they feel suffering. Therefore it is said, tapanti vividastapa na etan madhgata chetasa. Na etan. Therefore we should accept this. What is that? Madasraya Katha. Katha, Krishna Katha. There are so many literatures, especially Bhagavad Gita. That is open to everyone. Everyone knows Bhagavad Gita. So, if you simply hear Bhagavad Gita, we can attain this stage of perfection. Namo Sapari. That is a fact. So, just like Ambarish Maharaj, he made his life. Sabai mana Krishna padara vindayo bachangsi vaikuntha gunanuvarnan. He was a very responsible king, emperor of this world, and he was administering his kingdom. At the same time, he was a great devotee. These are the examples in this country. There are many kings like that. They are called Rajarsi. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Imang vivassati jugang praktavana hamabhyam manu ikha kavi bravit vivassan manave prahu manu ikha kavi bravit evang parampara praptam imang rajarsayo vid. Rajarsi, the kings were, although they are king, Raja, still they were as good as the great saintly person, Rishi. So Maharaj Ambarish, he was also a Rajarsi. He gave example, although he was busy in his administration work, still he was talking only of Krishna. Only. Sabai mana Krishna padar vindayo bachangsi vaikuntha gunanavan. So whenever you talk, he'll talk about Krishna. This requires practice. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised all his devotees, Gramma Katha na kohibe. This is called advancement. Don't talk nonsense of these material talks. What is the use? What you will gain? Just like you open the newspaper, what do you find? The same thing. The same plane crash, the same politician condemn another politician, and something lost, something gained, something. It is puna charvita charvana. The same thing are being repeated in different way. So, what is the use of talking such thing? Better, if you want to talk on Krishna, talk on Bhagavad Gita, talk on Srimad Bhagavatam, and enjoy life. That is required. That is recommended here. Madasraya katha mrishta sinnanti kathayanti cha. If you simply talk about Krishna and hear about Krishna, then that stage will come when there will be no more suffering. Always. Anandamaya Bhyasa. This is called Anandamaya in the Vedanta Sutra. A living entity or Krishna, they are Anandamaya. Prachujji Matpratta. Simply Ananda. When you are in pleasure, transcendental bliss, there will be no more possibility of this material suffering. That is instructed here. Madasraya katha mishta sinnanti kathayanti cha tapanti duvidastapa na etam madgata. Madgata antaratmana. There is also another statement in the Bhagavad Gita. Yoginam api sarvesam madgata antaratmana. There are many yogis, but that yogi who is thinking of Krishna always, manmana bhava madbhakta, madgata antaratmana, samejuktatam. In my opinion, that he is the first class yogi, not to show any magic. Magic, that is magic. That if he does not suffer from any suffering, that is the greatest magic. But that will be done by a devotee. And Krishna also recommends. So, our life should be, this Krishna consciousness movement is being spread only for this purpose. What is this? Sinnanti kathayanti cha. Madasraya katha mrishta. when we shall feel pleasure by hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, we must know that we are making progress on the path of perfection. And at that time, any kind of this material suffering will not be felt. This is the practical effect of executing devotional service. Thank you very much.
Be tight. They were, bought off the shelf somewhere in Vrindavan, whatever, so they wouldn't be tailor-made for the devotees' necks, so they'd usually be just loose. But even though they were put on loosely, Srila Prabhupada insisted on a number of occasions that no, they must be tight. I think it's got something to do with remembering the beads are there, and that we're servants of the spiritual master like that.
I remember I was very nervous, of course, going before Prabhupada to receive an initiation. Is that the, I think so. Put on about 40 kilos since. I was worried that I would forget before rules and regulations, so I said no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating, like that, to try and make sure I didn't forget. And then Prabhupada said so many negatives, because I was stressing the word no, as though it was abhorrent to give these things up. And Prabhupada said, isn't there any positive? And then I said, chanting Hare Krishna 16 rounds.
There were a number of occasions when I was involved or sat in or was part of initiations. Srila Prabhupada always insisted that the doors and windows remain closed. Devotees would open the windows like as if the smoke coming from the fire was a botheration. I don't know exactly why, but he would insist that we just keep the doors and windows closed. It didn't matter. The smoke was not harmful. There was a chaise lounge that he would sit on when the guests came. He would sit there and preach to the guests. This was a very big room. All the devotees could actually fit. It was almost as big as the temple room. One particular preaching engagement was with a social worker from the Department of Social Welfare. We actually rang up the departments and tried to get the ministers to come and meet with him, but the minister couldn't come, but he sent one of his top men. And this man came along, and actually he was very, very nervous. And I don't think he actually wanted to be there. Anyhow, he met with Prabhupada, and he was respectful. And then Prabhupada started to tell him about our principles, and how one of our principles was no illicit sex. And when Prabhupada mentioned this man became very, very agitated. And Prabhupada kept talking about this, and this man became so agitated that in the end he wanted to cut the conversation off. Although Prabhupada was giving him the answers and the solutions to so many of their social welfare problems, this man was not willing to listen. Prabhupada's preaching was very powerful, but they were not willing to hear. And also on the same visit, he met with one man whose name was Brian Dixon. And Brian Dixon was a very, very famous man in the state of Victoria. He was a very famous footballer. And later on after that, he became a politician, government minister. He came with his secretary, and she was not dressed very appropriately. She had a short dress. She had the makeup on and everything, and she was very provocatively dressed. So Brian Dixon came in and met Srila Prabhupada, and he made the comment straight away that he saw the Hare Krishna devotees on the streets singing and dancing and chanting, and whenever he saw them, he saw that they were always happy. So he asked Srila Prabhupada, why are you successful? And he knew that we did not participate in taking drugs. And he was impressed by this, and Prabhupada explained that we follow 4 principles, and one of them is no intoxication, and that by chanting Hare Krishna you become happy. And Brian Dixon, he was listening. So then Prabhupada mentioned that we do not engage in illicit sex. And Brian Dixon became embarrassed. He blushed like anything. Almost immediately, he looked at his watch and said, oh, I'm sorry, I've got another appointment, and he had to leave. So Prabhupada was preaching very, very strongly. And he was giving these particular men the answers to their problems that they were dealing with. But again, they were not willing to listen or to implement this particular program. Then again, we had one news reporter come from the Age newspaper, which is the main Melbourne newspaper. And Srila Prabhupada preached to this man for about 45 minutes. Simply preached to him about you are not this body. Straight preaching. Although the man was asking general sort of questions, Prabhupada just stuck with this one point of how you are not this body and you are the servant of Krishna, and he just preached to the guy full on, and the guy just sat there and listened. So then the next day he wrote a very, very nice article. It was about half a page on the second page of the Melbourne Age, quite an extensive article and very well written, because most newspaper reporters, they actually misinterpret what the original message was. And we showed Srila Prabhupada the newspaper article the next day, and he was so pleased that he asked us to get 12 copies of that particular article, and he got his secretary to send them to some of the big life members in India.
He would hold darshans there some evenings in his room, and he'd sit and talk, and Prabhupada would display his usual erudite knowledge. But he had this compassion that he would hear everyone and consider. Even if you spoke, you could only feel foolish in front of Prabhupada, but he seemed to tolerate. And he had a lot of compassion. But at the same time, with the guests that would come, he would show a lot of interest, but he would not tolerate the subject being moved. So he would be very quick to bring the subject back within the Krishna conscious domain, even if he would insinuate that they were in illusion. He did it in such a way that nobody was ever offended. Prabhupada had this knack of speaking to people. So in Melbourne, I remember he spoke to one of the parents of a devotee, and he made them feel extremely comfortable, but at the same time Prabhupada was very strong in stressing that Krishna consciousness was for everyone and not just a sectarian movement, but it was for everyone, and it was a practical movement. Prabhupada had this skill of disarming people's defense just through his purity and his straight speaking and his simple language. And it was understood by everyone. There was nothing duplicit in his language. It was straightforward.
My uncle, Father Wallace, he was a Jesuit, but he was in charge of the whole of Victoria, so he's like the head Jesuit. I said to my mother, I'd like to get my uncle to meet Prabhupada, so somehow she got that arranged. My mum was pretty good at arranging those things. And so my uncle came, and we're all sitting around in Prabhupada's beautiful room on the beautiful blue carpet, and he was sitting back in the chairs, and he was quite elegant sort of a guy, and a very good speaker. As the Jesuits are pretty well trained in philosophy, Prabhupada spoke philosophy with him quite a bit, and he seemed to be able to follow the thread of it and answer it, which most people, when they met Prabhupada, they kind of lost it. Prabhupada was just probing into what they understood, and they couldn't understand what they believed themselves, but he seemed to have some belief himself. Anyway, it went on for about, I guess, 3/4 of an hour, having a pretty lively conversation, but jokey too, a lot of laughter and so on. And then finally the session was over, and he got up and shook hands and left, and we're all sitting around Prabhupada, and Prabhupada sitting there just kind of rocking a bit. And I said, Srila Prabhupada, what did you think of my uncle? And Prabhupada looked at us all, and he smiled, and then he looked at me and he said, a very pleasant drunkard. And that was like, we just all cracked up laughing, because immediately he walked in, Prabhupada must have picked up, he'd had something. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was a regular drinker. He had that kind of look, his face, a bit over reddish. And yes, it was pretty well strong through the whole order at that time, I'd say, the whole Catholic Church. That was the one thing the priests could do, have a good drink. The way Prabhupada could crack a joke was really amazing.
The minister is elected according to the equation of society.
Because they have made a department just like your, what is the department?
Social welfare.
Social welfare. So if they find social welfare, why not help? Why they bring politics? If actually there is social welfare here, why they should not support it?
Yeah, well, you're right. But in our society, minister is elected to carry out certain policies. Not what he wants, but what the people sort of voted for. And they are taxed to support.
Sonny, if your policy is social reformation,
Social reform is not our policy.
then social welfare.
So just to look after those who are in trouble. That's our
Well,
policy.
everyone is in trouble.
Right?
At the present moment, even the ministers are in trouble.
Yes, but that is not what our function is. Everybody's in trouble.
Physician, he likes it. You see? They are also drunkards, they are also woman hunters, and meat eaters, and gambling, that's all. They require to be rectified.
But they can't help that. That's society. You have to go and change society. The society tells us to act
But
differently.
unless you change the society, how can you make social welfare?
Well, it's a
If you
different
keep them as it is, there is the question of welfare.
give it a different interpretation to the word.
How is it? I
Does
don't
you understand me?
Basically, one must be first class, ideal man.
Yeah.
That is one.
That's why it's so very difficult. You have to work on your own and always have to see that you have freedom to work. But if you convince enough people to go your way.
Our own program, it is not box properly. You find out fault with us.
Huh?
You find out what is our fault.
I can't see any fault.
Then you can disagree. But when you see everything is nice, how will you not accept it? Unless you are biased.
Of course I'm biased. I've been brought up differently.
Yes. That's like our...
Because you're biased against my life.
No, we are not biased. We
Yes,
say
I'm
that
saying.
like we are not biased. We are allowed. We say that if you want to be first class man, then you must not commit sinful activities. That is our problem.
But I as a public servant, I'm not here to change society.
But we
Society
are also
tells me
public.
what to do.
We belong to the public. You must become our servant also.
What?
We are public, members of the public.
Yeah.
So you should become our servant also. If you are public servant.
A public servant is in our philosophy, is a man who serves the minister elected by the people. And this way he serves the public.
Yeah.
And what the public decides, it votes accordingly.
We are reforming the public. That's why we are proposing here. I am not proposing. Krishna says that one must be peaceful. How to become peaceful? If his mind is always disturbed, how he can become
You're
peaceful?
quite right.
So that is the secret of success. You want to make people peaceful, but you do not know how to make him peaceful.
Yeah.
So therefore we have to adopt this.
You have a competitive society.
We say that you chant Hare Krishna, eat here sumptuously, live here comfortably, and you become peaceful. It is guaranteed. If anyone, even a madman, agrees to this principle, that let him chant Hare Krishna mantra, take whatever nice food stuff we prepare, take, and live peacefully. He will be peaceful.
What's your answer that still such a small percentage of the population, a tiny percentage of the population,
No.
accept a philosophy that sounds so
Tiny percentage, just like there are so many stars in the sky, and there is one moon. In percentage, the moon is nothing. If you take percentage of the stars, the moon is nothing. But moon is important than all the nonsense stars. But if you take percentage, there is no percentage both. But because he is moon, he is important than all these rascal stars. This is the example.
Yeah, well,
What is the use of taking percentage of the stars in the presence of moon? Let there be one moon, that is sufficient. There is no question of percentage. One ideal man. That time in Christian world, one ideal Jesus Christ.
how do you feel about Mao Zedong?
Huh? What is that?
This is how you feel about Mao Zedong.
In China, he's the ideal man.
He's a communist.
His ideal is all right.
In China, he is.
His ideal, communist idea, that everyone should be happy. That is good idea. But they do not know how to make a just like they are taking care of the human being in the state, but they are sending poor animals to the slaughter. So for the satisfaction of the tongue of the human being, the animal should be cut through. That is the defect.
Prime Minister regards himself as a servant of the people, who can be kicked out.
That is the defect. The people are rascals and they have elected another rascal. That is the defect.
Well, but that's how it is.
So what can we do? Then it's hopeless.
Oh, you can work on the
So
gas.
we are going without depending on this rascal. We are going on. We instruct a man, please do not have illicit sex. Have you got any objection?
Right?
If I advise somebody that do not have illicit sex,
Yeah.
have you got any objection?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Illicit, if I
I
say,
like sex, and my wife likes it.
huh?
We just enjoy it, we couldn't live without it. Our marriage is happier because they have sex.
That's it. It is the point. No, we don't private sex. We
We
private
don't have two children.
illicit sex.
Well, it's you use a pill, you use contraceptives, you use all kinds of things. Because it makes our...
Why do you use contraceptive?
Because we don't want any more children.
Then why don't you stop sex?
Because they like sex.
Yes.
Because they enjoy it.
That means go to physician, I want to do everything I like, still I want treatment. This is the position. You want...
I didn't come for treatment.
No, I say... No, you have come for treatment here.
I was invited.
Because you have failed to control the society. Your activity, therefore you have come here, treatment. But when I prescribe medicine, you don't accept.
I haven't come for treatment.
No, yes. Otherwise, why you
I was
come?
invited.
That, just to help you in your social activities, social welfare activities, to take some suggestion from her. But when you give the suggestion, you reject it. That is your position.
Srila Prabhupada.